SUV coupes are all the craze at the moment, and Porsche wants to jump on the bandwagon with this beast here. It is the Cayenne Coupe, and the one you're looking at is, get ready for this, the Cayenne Coupe Turbo S e-hybrid. It is the fastest one they sell, and today we're in a hot Germany to see whether it drives as well as it looks. The reason I say this is a beast is because under their twin turbocharged V8 engine, this car will be arriving in Australia later this year by around Christmas time. Starting price of a little over $120,000 for the coupe and just under $300,000 for this top spec one. Now have a look at this front end. So you've got your exposed radiators, but behind here you have louvers that open and close depending on how much air that fire breathing engine needs. And you'll always know it's the hybrid because of this. The green brakes, and this one has the optional carbon ceramic brake package as well. It is seriously cool. Let's have a look at the back, which is where the biggest change is to the Cayenne Coupe. This is what I'm talking about. Have a look at the back. Slices down here. It gives you that coupe proportion. Look, I'm personally not a fan of the design of SUV coupes, but they sell like hotcakes in Australia, and you can kind of see why. One that has a Porsche badge on it actually looks pretty cool. Now this spoiler here will pop up when you're going faster, which we'll be doing later on the Autobahn. And you may think that you don't actually have any storage space here because of that roofline, but have a look at this. You've got a medium-sized bag, two small bags, and still plenty of room around it. You've got to keep in mind as well that under this floor you have the hybrid drivetrain with a 14 kilowatt-hour set of batteries. So there is a fair bit of stuff going on here. My favorite thing about the Cayenne though is the interior. Come and check this out. Have a look at this. How nice is this interior? This is where the Cayenne has made its biggest strides because you are getting a beautiful setup. Okay, maybe not with the brown. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it does show you the color combinations you can go for here, including the wood grain there. Now have a look at this screen here. It is a ripper, a little over 12 inches in size. It's all touchscreen color, but then as you approach with your finger, you get menus pop out, does pinch to zoom, Apple CarPlay. It really is tech laden. This latest version of the Cayenne now also picks up USB-C points, which is where we're heading in terms of USB connectivity. You've got wireless phone charging as well, so you can whack that down there. And then overall, you've got plenty of room inside the car, despite that sloping headline. In the back there, I can fit fairly comfortably with enough leg room as well. But I reckon we need to hit the road and see how the new Cayenne Coupe Turbo SE Hybrid drives. We've just left the hotel, and what we're going to do here is go from the hotel in e-power mode. So that is where the car is running entirely on its battery system. So it has a 14 kilowatt hour battery pack under the boot there, and that gives you about 40 kilometers of driving range. And it means you can get in and around the city without that engine switching on at all. And it's pretty responsive. It's surprising that even if you lean on the throttle, it can still give you the push in the back that you need. A lot of the earlier generation PHEV cars just had no get up and go, and you always had to kick the petrol engine on for it to react or do anything interesting. Whereas here in the Cayenne, it's just moving along really nicely. The only downside is the brake pedal feel. You do get used to it, but just coming to a stop, it can be a little bit sensitive, and this is common amongst most hybrids in this segment. It really is just something they don't master until they move to a full electric vehicle. Now, the second thing that has blown me away here is the ride. We're driving the top spec model here. This is the performance pinnacle in the Cayenne range, and you'd think you were in a Rolls Royce because it is riding beautifully over these surfaces. Yes, granted, some of these European roads are incredibly smooth compared to Australia, but in a general sense, Porsche just develops cars that simply bang nail the ride, and that's exactly what they've done here with Cayenne. Visibility in and out of this cabin is good. We're driving the coupe here, so you obviously have that sloping roof line and a small envelope out the back, but you still have good visibility. The wing mirrors are a decent size, and even looking out the front, you don't feel like you're going to nudge anything as you're maneuvering around the place. The steering's nice and easy to use as well, and then you have a 360 camera as well. The quality is not too bad, but like a lot of cars in this segment, you could always do with a little bit more quality and slightly higher resolution. It's worth mentioning at this point as well that Porsche has really taken a huge step forward in terms of technology. So we had a look at the tech earlier there with our walk around, but when you're driving, it's all much easier to use. You don't have to take your eyes off the road. The heads-up display is fantastic. You have the proximity sensors as you're approaching the screen, so little things line up as your fingers approach. In front of the driver here, you've got all of the gauges that are controlled on the steering wheel, and the steering wheel sits beautifully in the hand. It really does feel like a premium experience in the car. So I've now left the city, still in e-power mode, and merged onto the freeway. This is where this technology really comes in handy, because we're doing 115 k's an hour on the way to 120 and the engine is off. It's been off ever since we left the hotel maybe 10 or 11 k's ago. And this is where it really makes sense, because you've got some technology within that throttle pedal. As I push harder on the pedal, I can feel that it's got a bit of resistance, and then when we reach the ceiling of the pedal right at the floor, you know that the engine's going to kick on. Unlike some plug-in hybrids where the engine's always on and off and kind of aggravating you, this, you know exactly when it's going to come on, and if you do need it on, you just give the throttle a kick and away you go. When you do find yourself a set of corners, the Cayenne really comes to life, because this is where it sits nice and flat. You've got that 3-chamber air suspension, and it's designed to keep this thing as flat as it can as the corner starts piling on. Roll into the throttle, and it just picks up and goes. It is just so impressive the way that it pins you back in the seat. It doesn't move at all. Now, once you're done in and around the city and you want to have some fun, you find yourself a nice little stretch of Autobahn like this, turn this around to Sport Plus as our drive mode selector. There's a button in the middle called the Sports Response button. You hit that, pin the throttle, and it begins moving. 170, 180, 190, 200. At these speeds, it really starts hunkering down. It is absolutely epic. There's 240. Big brakes as well. You can get carbon ceramic brakes here that pull up the car beautifully. And you need that kind of stopping power. Obviously in Australia, where you'll get shot if you do any more than 110. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But out here, when you are carrying a bit of speed, or if you do want to do the occasional track day, the carbon ceramic brakes really do change this package. Let's go for another punch here. And the noise is so good as well. Despite the fact you've got all that hybrid gear, it still feels like a proper Porsche sports car. That has been your first look at the all-new Porsche Cayenne Turbo SE Hybrid, and this one here being the coupe as well, so different design direction for Porsche. Really impressed with it. It has blown me away just in terms of how much punch it has. It really hooks along nicely, and then as the speed picks up, it feels nice and stable, and you don't feel like you're paying a penalty for all the extra weight of the hybrid components, so that is a win there. Downsides though, brake pedal feel, not hugely sold on that, and also the price tag. You're paying about $40,000 more than its non-SE hybrid counterpart, and only losing 0.2 of a second by going that non-hybrid version. So that's something you've got to weigh up, but if you want the best of the best, this is exactly where it's at, and now with an interior to suit. Head to caradvice.com to read the full review, and if you've got any questions or comments, leave them below.